Okay, anybody else?
The terrific guy.
Well, I knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him. I mean, people in Palm Beach knew him. He was a fixture in Palm Beach. I had a falling out with him a long time ago. I don't think I've spoken to him for 15 years. I wasn't a fan. I was not, yeah, a long time ago. I'd say maybe 15 years. I was not a fan of his. That I can tell you. I was not a fan of his. So I feel very badly actually for Secretary Acosta because I've known him as being somebody that works so hard and has done such a good job. I feel very badly about that whole situation, but we're going to be looking at that and looking at it very closely. We're also going to be signing a big contract in a little while, so we're going to see you in a little while in a different room in a different part of the White House where we're going to be signing up a big deal with Boeing.
What's good? What's good? What's going down? It's your man Chris B. Back again with another video to share or two. Now today I wanted to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. By now, unless you're under a rock or something, I guess everyone knows about Jeffrey Epstein and the exploits that was going on the Epstein Island and things. But I wanted to look at it from an intelligence point of view on how intelligence agencies around the world use individuals like Epstein to do certain things. And it brought me to the question, or what I wanted to pose to y'all, is what do y'all think about Epstein Island? Could it possibly be an intelligence operation? A lot of people think that it could be an intelligence operation. Some say that Epstein was Mossad anyway. You know, there's a lot of people that think that Epstein was a Mossad agent and that he was operating under some kind of government authority. Now, whose authority, we may not know. But I thought it was very interesting to look back at the Epstein situation from a point of, was he an intelligence asset? Because after you see some of the things that go on in this video that I'm going to share, it would lead you to speculate that that could be a possibility. Now, I personally, as do many, don't believe that Epstein killed himself in the same jail that they put El Chapo in. Think about that. They put the man in the same joint that they put El Chapo in. And they put him in there because he kept escaping from every other prison that they put him in. So it's crazy, you know. And I also wanted to talk about the time-tested operation of the honeypot. And I think that's what a lot of things was going on Epstein Island. See, a lot of the times, they'll use females, especially underage females, to put people in compromising situations to gain their influence. And a lot of them times, we don't even know what's going on. And before you know it, depending on how good or how wicked you are, you can gain influence for some very powerful people using the honeypot tactics that they do. Now, anyone that knows me personally, especially you know me for a long time, you know I love some James Bond and I love some spy stuff. So some of this stuff seems spyish to me. Now, definitely shout out to the survivors of Epstein Island and the Epstein exploits. I want to look at how people use these situations to gain influence. And with some of the names and some of the stuff that's been alleged, you can see how prominent people can get tied up to where what kind of pictures did they have? What kind of videos did they have of you? And what were you doing? You know, we like to think for the best in humanity, but there's a lot of dark forces that go on in our society to where people become wicked. Maybe they had good intentions. Maybe they had good expectations, but somewhere along the line, they lost all that and they give in to their inner desires of what they really desire. And some of these dudes, women too, desire young people. I call it the blood of the innocent. That's what I call it. It's called the blood of the innocent because a lot of these people, it's really satanic when you think about it. But I definitely wanted to share this video for y'all to see how this definitely could be one of those intelligence operations. Let's go.
You've been on his private plane.
Yes,
You've been to stay on his private island.
yes,
You've stayed at his home in Palm Beach.
yes,
You visited Ghislaine Maxwell's house in Belgravia in London.
yes.
Much has already been said about Jeffrey Epstein's infamous island, a place that was once thought to be a luxurious retreat, but turned out to be a hotbed of exploitation and abuse. However, in today's video, we are diving deep into the dark world of Epstein Island's rich kids, the famous and wealthy people who were associated with Epstein and reportedly enabled his abusive streak. Who are Epstein Island's rich kids? Welcome to the dark underbelly of Jeffrey Epstein's infamous island, a place once described as a Zen-like retreat by a former employee. But behind the serene facade, a sinister reality lurked. Epstein's private island, known as Little St. James Island, was
But like I said, the media's slick as hell. They slick as hell. They try to put my boy up in the mix when he ain't even go to Epstein Island. He actually is one of the few that helped work with the police to try to get Epstein jammed up in Florida when they had him jammed up in Florida. But a lot of people don't talk about that. Instead, they give you a little bit of truth on, yeah, Epstein was wrong. He was tied to these people and that people. But yeah, Trump's with him too. Hell nah, you can put my boy in the mix.
a secluded paradise in the Caribbean. With its crystal clear waters, lush greenery, and luxurious amenities, it seemed like a haven for the rich and powerful. But beneath the surface, a disturbing truth awaited. Behind this idyllic setting masked a much darker purpose. It was here, on this seemingly paradise-like island, that topless women would sunbathe, adding to the surreal and unsettling ambience. These women were part of the disturbing activities that took place on the island, activities that involved the exploitation and abuse of young women and underage girls. The island became a haven for trafficking young women and underage girls for sexual servitude, child abuse, and sexual assault, as described by the U.S. Virgin Islands Attorney General in a criminal complaint filed against Epstein. It was a place where Epstein and his associates could avoid detection from law enforcement and prevent these vulnerable victims from escaping their abuse. As we peel back the layers of this shocking story, we will uncover the notable figures who were associated with Epstein's island. From celebrities to scientists, their presence on the island raises questions about their knowledge and involvement in the dark activities that took place there. From renowned comedians to powerful politicians, the guest list reads like a who's who of the elite. Their presence on the island raises questions about their knowledge and involvement in the dark activities that took place there. One of the infamous visitors to Epstein's island was comedian Chris Tucker. Known for his roles in popular films, Tucker's presence on the island raises eyebrows and sparks curiosity about his connection to Epstein. What did he know about the illicit activities taking place there? Was he simply an innocent guest, or was there more to his relationship with Epstein? Another prominent figure linked to Epstein's island is Les Wexner, the magnate behind Victoria's Secret. As a prominent figure in the fashion industry, Wexner's association with Epstein has raised eyebrows and fueled speculation about the extent of their relationship. What was the nature of their connection? Did Wexner have knowledge of the disturbing activities happening on the island? Actor Kevin Spacey, known for his award-winning performances, was also a notable visitor to Epstein's island. The presence of such a high-profile actor adds another another layer of intrigue to the story. What was Spacey's involvement with Epstein? Did he witness or participate in the exploitation and abuse that took place on the island? Supermodel Naomi Campbell, renowned for her iconic runway appearances, was reported to have been a guest on Epstein's Island as well. Her connection to Epstein raises questions about her involvement and knowledge of the activities taking place there. Did Campbell turn a blind eye to the exploitation happening on the island, or was she an unwitting participant in Epstein's dark world? The late physicist Stephen Hawking, known for his groundbreaking work in theoretical physics, is another surprising name on the list of visitors to Epstein's Island. Hawking's presence adds a disturbing twist to this already shocking story. What drew him to the island? Did he have any knowledge of the heinous crimes being committed there? Perhaps the most high-profile visitor to Epstein's Island was Prince Andrew of the United Kingdom. His association with Epstein has been intensely scrutinized and has had far-reaching implications for the royal family. The extent of Prince Andrew's involvement and his knowledge of Epstein's activities remain subjects of intense scrutiny and speculation.
Now you see where this is going? You see the theme that I'm trying to build? There's one prominent figure after another that has visited that island. Now, I'm not just talking about in the United States. I'm talking about that has went to that island. Actually gotten a plane and flown to that island. And, you know, some of the stuff that they allege, you know, right now that they're giving you out in the public is just more of the nature of sexual assault and sexual abuse and underage stuff and that. But they probably don't, it's probably a lot way worse than that. Think about those that ain't made it off that island. You know, at the time, a lot of stories that came out that there was, you know, when they was done with certain people, their body just went to the sea. I don't know how true that is. I don't know how true. But when you got powerful people running around doing stuff that's unchecked from the rest of the world, law enforcement in particular, people let their wild side come out. And I think these intelligence agencies use this to gain influence and power over each other. You know, you see it in movies all the time. So, you know, there's a little bit of truth in movies. I always say that. Little smidge of truth that they give us so that you'll be able to digest what's to come, in my opinion. But the theme on this one is you start to find out a lot of prominent people, affluent people. Intelligence agencies love to get these type of people in compromising situations. For many of them, it's just as easy as a bribe or a honeypot, as they used to call it in, I believe, the CIA, when they use a honeypot to either gain information or to put somebody in a compromising situation. Our government has used them tactics. So imagine all around the world, these intelligence agencies using this type of stuff. But let's continue.
Did Prince Andrew witness or participate in during his visits to the island? Nobel laureate Lawrence Krauss, a renowned physicist and author, was also reported to have visited Epstein's Island. The presence of a respected scientist like Krauss raises questions about the connections between academia and the dark world of Epstein. What was Krauss's relationship with Epstein? Did he have any knowledge of the exploitation and abuse happening on the island? Former Tony Blair aide Lord Peter Mandelson is another notable figure linked to Epstein's. The involvement of a high-ranking political figure adds another layer of complexity to this already shocking narrative. What was Mandelson's connection to Epstein? Did he turn a blind eye to the crimes being committed on the island? Reid Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn, also visited Epstein's Island. While Hoffman claimed to have visited the island to raise funds for the MIT Media Lab, his association with Epstein raises eyebrows. What did Hoffman know about Epstein's activities, and why did he choose to associate with him? And then there's the controversial connection to former US President Bill Clinton. Clinton's multiple trips on Epstein's private plane train known as the Lolita Express, and alleged visits to Little St. James Island have fueled speculation about his involvement in Epstein's illicit activities. The extent of Clinton's relationship with Epstein and his knowledge of the crimes committed on the island remains a subject of intense scrutiny and investigation. Alan Dershowitz, a prominent lawyer, is another figure linked to Epstein's island. As a close friend of Epstein, Dershowitz has been accused of participating in his illegal activities. These allegations have tarnished Dershowitz's reputation and raised questions about his involvement in Epstein's crimes. Jean-Luc Brunel, a former modeling scout and founder of MC2 Model Management, also had a connection to Epstein's island. Brunel partnered with Epstein to launch the agency and faced allegations of sexual trafficking of girls for Epstein. What was Brunel's role in Epstein's dark world? Did he actively participate in the exploitation and abuse of young women? As we delve deeper into the connections between these notable figures and Jeffrey Epstein.
Now see how they do? See how they do. I just have a problem with, you know, how they do certain things, man. Rest in peace, Michael Jackson. I don't think he did anything wrong, personally, in my opinion. But once he wanted to go out on his own and truly be his own, that's when Michael Jackson started to have problems with the powers that be. And next thing you know, he became this wacko jacko character. Now, I ain't gonna say Mike had his own personal demons, because like I said before, once the world flipped, it was no longer need for him to try to lighten up his skin. But it was too late by that time, and you know, but make no mistake, a lot of people that knew Mike said he was gangster as hell. Shit, you from Gary, Indiana, I know you was gangster. But they tie people like Mike into with these other sick perverts, especially like they tie my boy into it. He just trying to make America great. God damn. You want to put him in with the pedos and the weirdos. Dang. That's neither here nor there. Let's continue.
Island, we uncover a web of intrigue, power, and conspiracy. Dark secrets. Our story begins in the year 1982 when Leslie Wexner, the billionaire retail magnate, hired Jeffrey Epstein as his financial advisor. At first glance, it seemed like a typical business arrangement, but little did Wexner know the true intentions and abilities of the man he had just welcomed into his inner circle. Epstein's rise to power and wealth had always been shrouded in mystery. How did he amass such immense wealth? What was the source of his power? These questions lingered in the minds of those who knew him, but Wexner, blinded by trust, gave Epstein increasing control over his finances. However, their relationship took a dark turn when Epstein allegedly taunted and manipulated Wexner's previous financial advisor, Harold Levin. It was a calculated move that led to Levin's downfall, leaving Epstein with even more control over Wexner's empire. As Epstein's influence grew, so did the speculation surrounding his criminal activities. Rumors of illicit dealings and unspeakable acts swirled around him, casting a shadow of doubt over his every move. And then there was the speculation surrounding his untimely death. Questions arose about Wexner's knowledge and involvement in Epstein's actions. How much did he really know? And to what extent did Epstein control Wexner's vast assets? The truth remained elusive, hidden behind a veil of secrecy. But Epstein's impact on Wexner extended far beyond finances. He facilitated social connections for Wexner, introducing him to influential figures such as Bill Richardson, George Mitchell, and Ehud Barak. Through Epstein's web of connections, Wexner gained access to exclusive circles, expanding his network and influence. As their association deepened, changes became apparent in Wexner's personal appearance and lifestyle. People noticed a transformation, both physically and in his behavior. It was as if Epstein had a hold over him, manipulating him to his advantage. But perhaps the most disturbing aspect of Epstein's relationship with Wexner was his involvement with underage girls. Epstein would bring these girls to meet Wexner, supposedly for modeling interviews. It is chilling to think that Wexner, a respected businessman, would allow such a heinous act to take place under his roof. Maria Farmer, an artist working for Epstein, experienced the horrors of Wexner's complex compound firsthand. Despite her reservations, she accepted an offer to work there, only to be subjected to abuse. Eventually, she fled, escaping the clutches of Epstein and Wexner. Epstein's influence over Wexner caused tension among executives at his company, Victoria's Secret. They couldn't understand why Wexner allowed Epstein such latitude and control. Epstein even claimed to have the authority to decide the share price of a company that was being spun off from the Limited, a company owned by Wexner. It was a level of power that was unheard of. Despite warnings from others, Wexner continued to trust Epstein and spoke highly of him publicly. But since Epstein's death, Wexner's professional life has suffered. Investigations into his relationship with Epstein and lawsuits from shareholders have tarnished his reputation. The downfall of a once powerful man is now inevitable. As Ghislaine Maxwell's trial looms, Wexner's name is likely to come up. The world will see what secret and how Wexner will be implicated. Those who know Wexner have mixed feelings about his downfall. Some believe he was a victim of Epstein's manipulation, while others question his knowledge and involvement. Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking, a brilliant mind known for his groundbreaking work on black holes and the mysteries of the universe, was an unlikely figure to be entangled in the scandalous world of Epstein's Island. Yet his name appeared on the recently unsealed documents alongside other high-profile individuals. A 2015 email sent by Epstein to his then-accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell shed light on the allegations made against Hawking. In the email, Epstein requested Maxwell to offer a reward to anyone who could disprove the claims made by Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's alleged victims. The email specifically mentioned a shocking accusation that Hawking participated in an underage orgy during a Clinton dinner in the Virgin Islands. The connection between Stephen Hawking and Jeffrey Epstein remains shrouded in mystery. While their names appeared together in the unsealed documents, it is crucial to separate fact from speculation. Hawking, a man known for his scientific brilliance, was not immune to being associated with controversial figures. Prince Andrew. Recently released court documents have brought to light allegations of an underage orgy that took place on the island, implicating Prince Andrew in these disturbing events. These allegations have come to light through recently unsealed court documents, revealing a disturbing connection between the Duke of York and the underage activities that took place on Epstein's private island. According to the court papers, an unnamed girl referred to as Jane Doe 3 accused Prince Andrew of engaging in sexual relations with her when she was a minor. She claimed that Epstein instructed her to fulfill the prince's demands, and that Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's ex-girlfriend and accomplice, facilitated Prince Andrew's acts of sexual abuse by acting as a madame for Epstein. The alleged abuse took place in 3 separate geographical locations: London, New York, and Little St. James, Epstein's Caribbean island. It is on this island that the girl claims to have been involved in an underage orgy with Prince Andrew and other girls. These shocking allegations have caused a media frenzy and have raised serious questions about the prince's involvement with Epstein and his knowledge of the illegal activities taking place. Prince Andrew has vehemently denied these accusations and stated that he has no recollection of ever meeting Virginia Giuffre. Giuffre, one of Epstein's victims, filed a lawsuit in 2009, alleging that she had been flown around the world to engage in sexual encounters with Epstein's powerful friends. Prince Andrew settled a lawsuit with Giuffre in 2022, vehemently denying her accusations. However, the photograph showing him with his arm around...
And it's just like I said, y'all, just like I said, it has me thinking of this in the terms of intelligence operations, because those in the intelligence agencies, in my opinion, they think they can move above the law in a lot of aspects. So even though the FBI is the most powerful law enforcement agency in the country, these people in these intelligence communities, they move in and they think they move in their own lane. And a lot of these times they set up operations all over the world where they use people, even young women. Now, I've said this many times, don't unalive me, just my opinion. But you know, this whole Epstein thing to me, it just seems like Operation Epstein. That's just gone wild. It went wild. Like Girls Gone Wild back in the days, it was Operation Gone Wild. Especially you got an island, you own an island. With little to no enforcement on it, your island, your private island. And from what they say, from what the, you know, when the feds raided the place, he's Diddy times 100. times 1,000. Cameras in every room. So you can imagine. It just reminds me of them old James Bond movies where the girl comes in, you know, James Bond gets into a hotel and he goes and he's undressing or and then he gets a knock at the door and it's some beautiful girl and she wants to give him a massage and everything. But behind the mirror, it's the intelligence agencies of that particular country. And James Bond's always figures it out real quick. It just seems like one of those things. But think about it, and you know, that's just in the movies. Think about in real life what they do, or how they set people up. And sexual desire is one of the coldest weapons that they use. And sadly, a lot of men are into young women, having sex with young women, and you know, young girls. I should more put it like. It's a sad thing that goes on in our society. But a lot of these rich and powerful men, I guess it's as simple as just picking up a phone and ordering, like you're ordering takeout. You know? I pray for the world in many aspects. I really do pray for the world because I know that there's some good people out there, but they're just not in the positions of power. And that's what it all comes down to. See, the average you and me, we don't think about power, obtaining power. You're just trying to live your everyday life, just like me. I get it. But there's a lot of individuals out there that deal in power. And once they get a taste of power, once they get close to power, it's like a drug that they don't want to let go of. And they'll do anything to keep power or be close to power. And a lot of that got to do with individuals like Jeffrey Epstein. You know, a lot of people, they've talked about it before. It's been out there. He was jammed up in Florida. They already had the case. He had been found guilty and everything. But the plea deal was so weak that everybody was criticizing it. You know, that prosecutor later ended up being secretary in Trump's administration when he first got elected back in the days. And I believe that was part of the reason why he got put in that position, was because of him working with Donald Trump on that case, because he was one of the few people that would work with him. But the rest of the names that were sealed, we don't even know about. All the names. Now, they give you a few of the names. They can give you all of the names. But part of the plea deal in Florida that got criticized was because it was a weak deal for Epstein. House arrest, slap on the wrist, basically. If it was me or you that got charged with that, they'd throw us under the jail. So I could see how individuals like Epstein was able to move like he was supposed to move, because there was people allowing it. But let's go.
Around Giuffre's waist raised serious questions about the nature of their relationship. The prince's association with Epstein tarnished his reputation and led to calls for him to cooperate with authorities, which he has thus far declined. However, the release of these court documents has brought renewed attention to the case and has put Prince Andrew under intense scrutiny. Lawrence Krauss. Lawrence Krauss's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein's Island has been a subject of scrutiny and controversy. While Krauss has not been charged with any criminal offenses related to Epstein's activities, his association with the wealthy financier has raised questions about his knowledge and involvement in the scandal. Reports suggest that Krauss was a frequent visitor to Epstein's Island, attending parties and gatherings hosted by Epstein himself. These events were known for their extravagant and debaucherous nature, with allegations of underage girls being exploited and abused. Krause's presence at these gatherings has fueled speculation about his awareness of Epstein's illicit activities. It is important to note that Krause's connection to Epstein does not imply direct involvement in any criminal acts. However, the allegations of sexual misconduct against Krause have had significant consequences on his career. He retired from his position at Arizona State University and stepped down as the director of the Origins Project, distancing himself from the controversy surrounding Epstein. While the full extent of Krause's involvement with Epstein and Epstein's Island remains unclear, his association with the scandal has undoubtedly cast a shadow over his scientific achievements and reputation. Bill Clinton. Unsealed court files have revealed alarming allegations of sexual exploitation and abuse involving underage girls on Epstein's Island, and at the center of these shocking revelations is none other than Bill Clinton himself. According to these court documents, Clinton was not just a casual visitor to the island, but a frequent guest who allegedly engaged in illicit activities with young girls. The details of Clinton's relationship with these young girls are truly horrifying. Witnesses have come forward, recounting encounters where Clinton was seen engaging in inappropriate behavior with underage victims. These witnesses claim that Clinton was a regular presence on the island, taking advantage of the luxurious surroundings to indulge in his darkest desires. One witness, who wishes to remain anonymous, described a disturbing scene where Clinton was seen in the company of several young girls, engaging in explicit acts. The witness stated that Clinton seemed to have no regard for the age or well-being of these girls, treating them as mere objects for his pleasure. Another witness, who was employed on the island, revealed that Clinton would often request the presence of young girls during his visits. This witness claimed to have personally witnessed Clinton engaging in sexual acts with underage girls, further corroborating the allegations against him. These shocking revelations paint a disturbing picture of Clinton's involvement with Epstein's Island and the exploitation of vulnerable young girls. It is important to note that these allegations are not mere speculation or hearsay. They are based on testimonies from victims and witnesses, as well as evidence found in the unsealed court files. Jean-Luc Brunel. One of the key figures in Epstein's twisted web was Jean-Luc Brunel, a French modeling agent who played a crucial role in supplying girls to Epstein's Island. Brunel, known for his connections to the modeling industry, used his position to recruit young girls, often promising them lucrative modeling contracts. These vulnerable girls would then be brought to Epstein's Island, where they would be subjected to unspeakable acts of abuse and exploitation. Brunel's involvement in Epstein's sickening operation did not end there. He was also accused of sexually assaulting several former models in 2019. These brave women came forward, alleging that Brunel had drugged and raped them, shining a light on the dark underbelly of the modeling industry and its disturbing ties to Epstein's Island. However, the story took a shocking turn when tragedy struck. In August 2019, Brunel was found dead in his Paris apartment. The circumstances surrounding his death remain unclear, leaving many questions unanswered. Some speculate that it was a suicide, while others believe foul play was involved. The sudden demise of Brunel.
Now, what you think, y'all? He self-deleted himself. He unalived himself. I say I go with foul play as well. You know, that's the thing when dealing with some of these people. Rather than get exposed, you go away.
Only added to the mystery and intrigue surrounding Epstein's Island and the powerful individuals connected to it. Ongoing investigation. Being named as a visitor to Jeffrey Epstein's Island can have severe consequences for an individual, even if the allegations are untrue. The association with Epstein, a convicted sex offender, and the notorious activities that took place on Epstein's Island may lead to a range of repercussions, both personal and professional. After being named in connection with Epstein, Chris Tucker, the beloved actor and comedian, found himself addressing unsettling accusations he was involved in Jeffrey Epstein's scandalous empire and visits to the infamous island linked to Epstein's sex trafficking ring. Tucker, in an interview, spoke earnestly to clarify the nature of his association with Epstein. Rejecting any implication of inappropriate activities, he revealed that he and Epstein had crossed paths during a humanitarian trip to Africa. Sharing a plane with other dignitaries, including former President Bill Clinton, Tucker emphasized the genuine focus on saving lives and aiding those in need.
You knew Jeffrey Epstein, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We flew Bill Clinton and a lot of different. That was a humanitarian trip to Africa, And I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on.
The comedian's response shed light on the context of their meeting, vehemently denying any involvement in Epstein's illicit activities. Despite the accusations casting a shadow over his reputation, Tucker emphasized the nobility of their cause and urged people to understand the broader context. Supermodel Naomi Campbell was quick to release a statement after she was also named as one of the famous visitors of Epstein's Island. It was nearly 2 decades ago when Campbell first crossed paths with Epstein. On her 31st birthday, she was introduced to him by her ex-boyfriend Flavio Briatore. Epstein, a prominent figure in the fashion industry, was always front and center at Victoria's Secret fashion shows, where Campbell frequently graced the runway. At the time of their introduction, Campbell had no knowledge of the dark secrets that Epstein would later be accused of. She, like many others, was unaware of the alleged crimes he was committing behind closed doors. It is important to note that Campbell has vehemently condemned Epstein's actions and expressed her disgust upon learning the truth.
Did you suspect what he was doing?
No. And what he's done is indefensible. I heard of what he'd done. It sickened me to my stomach, just like everybody else.
As the years went by, Epstein's true nature began to unravel, and the shocking extent of his crimes came to light. However, during this period, Campbell continued to cross paths with Epstein at various social events and gatherings. She was just one of the hundreds of thousands of people she claims to have stood next to for a photograph. It wasn't until the news of Epstein's arrest and subsequent charges for sex trafficking that Campbell, like the rest of the world, became fully aware of the gravity of his crimes. The revelations sickened her to her core, as she had also experienced encounters with sexual predators in her own life. Campbell expressed gratitude for the people who protected her from such individuals and stood in solidarity with the victims of Epstein's heinous acts. In the aftermath of the revelations, Campbell found herself facing scrutiny and questions about her association with Epstein. The media, including the Daily Mail, questioned her ties to Epstein, as well as other individuals with questionable reputations, such as Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey. Campbell, however, has been vocal in her condemnation of the Daily Mail article, labeling it a direct character assassination and a distorted piece of journalism. Despite the negative attention and attempts to discredit her humanitarian efforts, Campbell remains resolute. She has been recognized by the British Fashion Council for her philanthropic work through her charity, Fashion for Relief, and is set to receive the prestigious Fashion Icon Award. Campbell
Now they're being nice. They're being real nice on this too. Because it was a lot of names that they had named. It was a lot of names, especially on that flight log. They had the flight logs of the names that was listed. You know what I'm saying? And so the names that they're naming in this particular video, they're being nice. Because there was a lot of names that had people like, damn, you know, and asking a lot of questions. So I find it real funny that the thing is real quiet in 2024. And nobody's really looking into what happened to him. And this happened under Trump too. So, you know, unless you know that a lot of people got power, I say those that are not named. But it was a lot more names than what they're naming.
refuses to let the actions of others undermine the positive impact she and her team have made. Naomi Campbell's association with Jeffrey Epstein has thrust her into the spotlight, raising questions and casting shadows on her reputation. However, Campbell has been clear in her condemnation of Epstein's crimes and her support for the victims. She stands as a reminder that guilt by association should not overshadow the individual's own actions and contributions. Meanwhile, Lord Peter Mandelson, a senior British politician who was also named as an acquaintance of Jeffrey Epstein, has found himself entangled in controversy. The revelation of this connection has severely damaged Mandelson's once pristine reputation, raising concerns about his judgment and integrity. Despite Mandelson's claims that his association with Epstein was purely social and devoid of knowledge regarding Epstein's criminal activities, the public, the media, and fellow politicians have demanded explanations. The public perception of Mandelson has taken a hit, with questions about his ability to make sound decisions for the country and doubts regarding his integrity. The mere association with Epstein
The world we're living in today is drastically different than it was even a few years ago.
regardless of its nature, has cast a dark shadow over Mandelson's political career. The fallout extends beyond public opinion, impacting Mandelson within political circles. Calls for his suspension from the Labour Party have grown louder as the party grapples with a credibility crisis. The party's leadership faces the delicate task of balancing accountability with the recognition of Mandelson's political experience and influence. Sir Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party, is confronted with challenging political ramifications stemming from Mandelson's association with Epstein. The situation puts the party's credibility at risk, prompting a thorough investigation into the allegations. The findings of this investigation will influence the decision-making process and determine whether Mandelson will face suspension. The case of Lord Peter Mandelson's association with Jeffrey Epstein exemplifies the shocking consequences of being connected to such a notorious figure. The damage to reputations, the political ramifications, and the difficult decisions faced by Sir Keir Starmer underscore the gravity of such associations. As the investigations into Epstein's crimes continue, the consequences of associating with him are still unfolding. The unsealed documents have provided a glimpse into the dark underbelly of power and privilege, exposing the shocking reality of sexual exploitation and abuse. The victims, whose lives have been forever altered, seek justice and accountability for those who enabled Epstein's crimes. The consequences of associating with Jeffrey Epstein are far-reaching and have left an indelible mark on the lives of those involved. The unsealed documents, witness testimonies, and allegations have exposed a dark underbelly of power, privilege, and exploitation. Prominent figures from the worlds of politics, entertainment, and business have been implicated, their reputations tarnished and their actions scrutinized. The ongoing investigations and legal proceedings continue to shed light on the extent of Epstein's network and the potential involvement of others. The victims, whose lives have been forever altered, seek justice and accountability for those who enabled Epstein's crimes. The unsealed documents have provided a glimpse into a world that many never knew existed, exposing the shocking reality of sexual exploitation and abuse. As we reflect on the consequences of associating with Jeffrey Epstein, it serves as a stark reminder of the importance of holding those in positions of power accountable and protecting the vulnerable from exploitation. The scandal surrounding Epstein has sparked a global conversation about the abuse of power and the need for systemic change. In the face of such darkness, it is crucial to support the survivors, amplify their voices, and work towards a society where no one is above the law. Only through continued awareness, education, and advocacy can we hope to prevent such heinous crimes and ensure a safer future for all. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the consequences of associating with Jeffrey Epstein. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and together let's strive for a world free from exploitation and abuse. For more content like this, click on the videos showing on your screen now.
Definitely. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's a wild world we live in today, y'all. Wild world. Well, there's a whole lot of things going on that us everyday people wouldn't even know about in particular, unless you happen to stumble upon it. I think there's more Epsteins out there that we just don't know about. They just exposed Epstein because his time was up. He was doing too much. But if you watch this video, think about some of the powerful people and influential people that went to that island. And if y'all remember, the feds bum rushed the island. So I guess just like the laptop, we won't know what's on what they got from there until they decide to tell us. But I think when a thing like that happens, it goes way up the food chain. And once again, ask who benefits from these operations like these on these private islands, or in these private mansions? Who benefits from what goes on in there, the activities that goes on? Who benefits? That's, I guess, what we have to ask ourselves. But I thought it was very interesting to take a look at the Epstein situation in terms of intelligence. Because intelligence uses these situations to gain influence over powerful people to get their way for whatever reason. We don't know the reasons, but I know that's why a lot of this stuff is done. Now, there's a lot of wicked people out there that just do it for the thrill of it because they like being wicked. But if you're rich and you're powerful, you're supposed to move a certain way. And as we can see, a lot of rich and powerful people move wickedly. And I think intelligence agencies know this and make sure has pushed them into the realm of putting you in that compromising situation behind closed doors, or you think it's behind closed doors. And hell, if they was doing this back in the days, I can only imagine how good they got now with technology. But in the intelligence agencies and the media, sometimes they work hand in hand. And they try to tie people to things. If they know it's wrong and they know they can't cover this story up and it's going to get out, okay, we'll let it get out, but we're going to attach certain things to a certain imagery to it to make you think that this person is involved too, when they're not. Like, just like the movies, they give you a little bit of truth and everything. The little bit of names that they gave on this is just the tip of the iceberg. But I guess it's like everything else. We'll figure it out somewhere down the road or not. But I wanted to know what y'all think. Do y'all think the Epstein situation was a government operation? And if it was, by who? What government? Who standard to gain from what he was doing? We don't know. But like they say before, Epstein didn't kill himself. And on that note, I'm out. As always, subscribe to the channel. It's your boy, Chris Barber, aka Buzz. Get at me. Peace.